I welcome you all for today's session. Before I request Mr. Santiago to start because we have already delayed by 5 minutes. So I request straight away to Mr. Santiago to start the program.
Okay, so today we're going to talk about the training planning. Yesterday we looked at the long-term development of a boxer's career. Today we're going to look at the high performance level, how we work in the national team and how I work with the boxers that I train, because everybody has also their own system. I will disable annotations. Wait, give me 1 second. There. Okay, then I need to put view. So now you can see, huh?
Yes, yes.
Training planning. This is what the annual plan can look like for a national team. This is an example of how I do the plan, and we look at it step by step, how we come up with this, how we plan for the boxing training, how we plan the strength and conditioning, also how we take it down to a weekly plan and a daily session. When you have no planning, then you can end up doing big mistakes. Coach, if I'm going for the competition, I need to plan to be there on time, take the bus or the car. I need to know the road to the boxing arena. Should I bring a towel? Should I bring Vaseline, pads, whatever? So in every aspect, we have a plan. It's a famous quote. It says, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So that's why we try to plan ahead, price afterwards. So this is the annual plan before I start. So first I need to think, okay, what are the situation, what is the situation, we have to study what happened before, do a proper analysis, and what are our objectives ahead. And for that, we see, okay, what are our most important competitions? That is basically number one. And we divide the competitions in 4 different priority levels. So for us, the priority 1 is the ones that we target. And that can be, for example, 1 year can be Asian Championships and World Championships, like last year. The year before that, we had Commonwealth Games and Asian Games. And this year was supposed to have Olympic qualifier and Olympic Games. And so usually we have 2 major competitions every year. And if you look in at the right, it says tapering. And for these big competitions, the tapering that we do to try to peak in the right movement, the last 2-3 weeks before the competition, we ease off a little bit on the training, reduce mostly the volume to have the boxes fresh for the main competition. On the second priority level, we have, fortunately, we have many international tournaments and we can participate in the strongest tournament in the world. Used to go to Stranja tournament, Chemistry Cup, Thailand Open, President's Cup in Kazakhstan, etc. For us, and we want to test our boxers against the world-class boxers. But we cannot taper 2-3 weeks for every tournament because then we don't get enough training volume. For these priority 2 tournaments, the tapering will be of 1 week. Down on priority 3 level of basically the rest of the competitions, either smaller international tournaments, or boxers have some state and department competitions, sometimes selection trials and so on. And for those we continue normal training, and last 3 to 5 days we do a small tapering. And priority number 4, small competition, one-day competitions, can be a fight night or a friendly match with a different country. And for those, basically 0 to 2 days. We just take them as a training session. Okay, I have to write, otherwise you will not be able to see. There. So here are our competitions. Here is our main competition. Let's say World Championships here. There, and for this we have one tournament in Germany. We plan one tournament in Czech Republic. We will have a selection trials here. Here maybe one fight night, and we also plan the camps. Okay, let's say we will be in Patiala. We want some training camp abroad. We go into France. We go back to Patiala, and here we want to go to England. After being in Germany, we go for competition. Okay. So the first thing we do, we see what are the important competitions we want to prepare for the main competition, what international camps we want to do abroad or bring teams to India, and what camp when do we give the boxers little rest. Here it says home, we're giving them 1 week after coming back from tournament, and so on. Okay, so after we have set the competitions, we're looking at the different blocks or periods which we divide the training year in. And we see we have 2 preparatory periods. Preparatory period 1, or many used to say general preparation, where our focus is to build up a good endurance level. The second preparatory period, we want their focus a little more on the strength. And then the sport-specific period, competition period, here the boxing is the main importance, and the strength and endurance training, they come on, they still maintain. We do boxing all the periods. I want to clarify that. In all the periods, of course, there is boxing. But to build up endurance and strength a little more in the beginning, sometimes the boxing training comes not as the main priority, some sessions, but in the sport-specific period, everything evolves around the boxing training. Then the tapering, I said last 2-3 weeks or 1 week for some competitions, where we reduce the volume before the competition. And then last period, the transition period, which is for recovery after the main competition, the Asian Games, after World Championships and so on, when boxers go home. And now we can say we are in a little bit transition period, and also a preparatory period 1. Okay, so here we have put the different blocks. I don't know if you can see. I will annotate again. So here we have preparatory number 1, this period. Here we want endurance training, here strength training. Here our sport-specific period number 1. We have this competition, Czech Republic, and training camp in France. Then this mixed preparatory period where we'll do a little bit endurance in the beginning and then little strength. And from here on, we have a second sport-specific period. We have 1 competition in Germany, 1 training camp in England, and then the last tapering before the competition, World Championships. This is an example. This is not exactly, I have mixed a little bit. Okay, after we have put the blocks, we look at the boxing training. We plan first the boxing training before we do the endurance and strength and so on. So when we look at the boxing training, what is it? What is the boxing training for us? So competitions, is part of the training. I have written here, sparring all out, and I mean full sparring, like about, and normal sparring also, school fight, punching bag, intervals, or normal work on the punching bag, different technical drills, pads, shadow boxing, school boxing, etc. And here on the right side, you see the intensity levels. So which work we want to be at maximum intensity, 90 to 100, very hard work, which takes longer time to recover. This we have colored with red, high intensity training, 90 to 100%, the competition, the tough sparring, normal sparring, some of the school fight. So here you can see the sparring and school fight, they can both be 90 to 100 or 80 to 90. So sometimes we want them a little lower than 90 to 100, and sometimes we want them very high. So maximum intensity 90 to 100%, high intensity 80 to 90%, and medium low less than 80%. So what is the medium low? Is the more the technical work, technical drills, pads. If you work at technical level, if you raise the intensity, the pads will become under the orange, high intensity. Same with shadow boxing or school boxing. So this is the boxing training. Okay, so this we have to spread out in the annual plan. And now we have put high intensity sessions. Every one of these is one session. This is 1 week. All this is 1 week. So this week we have one maximum intensity, one high intensity, and 2 lighter, more technical sessions. In the first period, where we work a lot on endurance. When we look in here before the competitions, when we are in France, when we are in England, you will see that the boxing training here is many sessions of high intensity, because here we need good quality, high intensity boxing. So in order to be able to work at this high intensity level, we have these 2 preparation periods where intensity stays a little lower, so that after some weeks of training, we're better prepared for this type of work. Let's see, I need to clear all drawings. Okay, we continue with the boxing training. So we said sparring. When I talk about sparring, I work either 3 rounds, 4 rounds, and 5 rounds. 5 rounds sometimes in the preparatory periods, but mostly between 3 and 4 rounds. Usually when we work 4 rounds, we work 2 different sparring partners, and when we work 3 rounds, we work 1 versus 1. And for me, it's very important that 1 versus 1 over 3 rounds, because there you see the adjustments, the tactical adjustments that the boxer makes after each round. If after 2 rounds they change the sparring partner, yes, it's good to get some variation, but it's not the same as in the bout, because in the bout it's only one of them. School fight. School fight, if it is close to the competition, 4 or 5 rounds, maybe 6 rounds, preparatory period, sometimes up to 9 rounds. I work up to 9 rounds, no longer than that, because for me, intensity goes down too much. The same with the round length, close to the competition, 3 minutes, either the normal 3:15, sometimes 3:30, and when we put on volume, we have longer rounds, 3:45. Before I used to work 4-minute rounds, but now I have put 3:45, because the same here. I don't want the volume, the intensity to go down too much. Rest periods between round, 50 seconds, 55 seconds, and sometimes when we want them to get full recovery, we give them 1 minute full recovery between round. And the school boxing, 10, 15, or 20 minutes when close to competition, short 10, sometimes even 5 minutes, Otherwise, a little longer, 15, 20 minutes. And sometimes I've done longer also, up to 30 minutes. The school fight, this we have talked about before when we talked about boxing tactics. Have 1 or 2 topics each week, which they work on. We focus on those topics. Can be the straight punches and defenses, can be long distance boxing, can be southpaw versus orthodox, double attacks, body punches, etc. Here are some examples. So after this, we have looked at the boxing training. Okay, then it's time to put it into the plan. And here is the technical, tactical work. First week, general. Second week, straight punches, uppercuts, etc. We come with double attacks, medium and short distance, and so on. So, and here I have left it blank because that we will see during the year what is needed. So I leave this blank because it's difficult to predict before the year has started what will be important here. Okay, sparring, school fight, round length, and school boxing. So first week, no sparring. Second week, 1 sparring, 4 rounds. Third week, 1 sparring, 4 rounds. And 2 sparring, 1 5 rounds and 1 4 rounds. 1 4 round, 5 round. And when we're close to the competition, here we have 3 sparrings. 3 plus 3 plus 3 means 3 rounds, 3 rounds, and 3 rounds. That's in a training camp in France. And here, before the competition, all sparrings are 3 rounds. Okay, so that was the boxing training. Drawings. Then we look at the physical load, strength and endurance. So every week we give physical load, heavy, medium, or light load. So we have to see how much is the boxing load and how much we can put on the physical load. We do physical tests. Normally we do a test battery with between 12 and 14 tests. We do that twice a year, and sometimes we do some specific tests other times of the year, especially the Cooper test. We used to do it more frequently. Then we plan how many sessions we work on strength and how many sessions we work on endurance, and that will give us the total training sessions, boxing sessions and strength and conditioning. So here, physical conditioning, here it says medium, high, high, light, high, high, medium, high, light. So this is the physical load. And how many strength and how many endurance sessions. So we said in the first preparatory period, we work more on endurance. So we have 2 strength and 2 endurance first week, but second week we have 2 strength and 4 endurance sessions. So in these months, we work 3 or 4 sessions working on endurance. And after the first block here, we have no more weeks with 4 endurance sessions, but the strength, mostly we work 3 sessions a week, sometimes 2, but mostly 3 sessions a week. And before the competitions, there are less focus on the strength and conditioning. Here, 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2, 1 plus 1, 1 plus 2, just a little bit of maintenance. Clear all drawings. Remove this and we go to the next. Okay, so we said we focus on the endurance. So what type of endurance do we go for? So we have in different colors. Slow, long distance. Here we have 2 different works, 60 to 75 minutes, 45 to 60 minutes, low intensity, and heart rate This is an example for a boxer with a maximum heart rate of 200. So for let's say a young 20-year-old might maybe have 200 in maximum heart rate. So he or she will work between 120 and 150 heart rate beats per minute. If we go down, little higher intensity and little shorter, between 15 and 40 minutes, fast distance. So the heart rate has to go up to get a good training effect. It's still medium aerobic, 160 to 170. And then we have higher intensity intervals between 30 and 90 seconds or 15 seconds. And also here you can see higher intensity. And then we go to the orange, which is even higher intensity, 180 to 200, already touching on the anaerobic. And here you see also we have two anaerobic level intervals, which we hardly use because we want the high intensity anaerobic work. This work we want to have it boxing specific, and we have many tough boxing sessions, so no need to add it. Also anaerobic, the lactic acid work has not so good transfer, so it needs to be sport specific. This is endurance, and then we look at the strength and different types of strength. This we have looked in some earlier session, functional, technical exercises to start with, then some basic strength, going up a little bit on the load with the maximum strength, and then continue with the explosive strength, and in the end, speed strength, or a mix between explosive and speed strength, and sometimes little power endurance and circuit trainings. So here we have put the endurance work. Here you can see the different colors, the intensity work. And if you see here in the beginning is the longer work, lower intensity, green and blue, long distance. And then we start mixing with some yellow, long intervals, and some shorter intervals, this orange. And after the first preparatory period here, there is no more these long distance runnings, but we keep the fast distance or short distance, 20 to 40 minutes, mixing with some interval work. If we look at the strength training, here it says functional technical training in the beginning, then basic strength, this dark blue. Then we go a little bit on the maximum strength, and then mostly we keep it for explosive strength and power. Okay, so after when this is finished, we can look at here we see some some red annotations here. This is at individual level. If somebody has been sick and missed training, so that we can mark. Actually, I don't do that because we are so many boxers. We don't do it at individual level. We do it at group level. But this is also a way to see maybe the load was too high. This is a very common reaction. If the body can't handle the load, boom, comes directly a response from the body, and you get sick and you miss a couple of days or a week of training. And this also to see how much of this training was performed, to see if the plan held up, or we need to make some changes for next year. Okay, so if we take that was overall yearly planning. So we take that down a couple of levels down to 1 week. What does it mean in 1 week? So if we take, I will show you 2 different weeks. 1 week with high volume, it's this one, and lower intensity. So this one is can be in the preparatory period. So here we have only 1 session, which is maximum intensity red, 1 sparring 4 rounds. But we have 9 rounds school fight, 6 rounds school fight, 8 rounds school fight. So we have a little more volume. If you look at the round length, rounds of 3 minutes, 45 minutes, lower intensity, but higher volume. Long distance running, 45 minutes, 60 minutes. Here is a dark blue weight training session. This is basic strength. And there is 1 white session here. This is functional technical training. So this session has 4 conditioning, 2 strength sessions, 4 boxing sessions, of which only 1 of high intensity. This gray, it says cool down 20 minutes. We want, after every boxing session, and especially those high intensity with red, 20 minutes cool down, low intensity to remove lactic acid for faster recovery for next session. Instead of just laying down, doing some stretching and then go directly to the shower, some low intensity, maximum 120 beats per minute, 15-20 minutes, that will remove a lot of lactic acid and it will recover faster. We look at the different session. You see here is only one red. And here is another week, but this week we have a lot of red. We have a lot of high intensity boxing. So volume will be lower, rounds of 315, working on double attacks. The physical load is light, and we have 2 sparring sessions and both of 3 rounds, 1 on Tuesday and 1 on Friday. Here is Tuesday, 3 rounds sparring and 3 rounds sparring. Now school fight is not 9 rounds, 8 rounds, 7 rounds. And the running, all 5 minutes, 60 minutes, 1 20-minute running, 1 interval running. And the third one is a game here, football. And we have 3 weight training sessions this week. Here's 1, here's 2 explosive sessions, and number 3, 1 maximum strength. I lost the connection. What happened? Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. You can share your screen again.
Somebody removed me. Wait. I'm coming back.
You met other person, the co-host?
So, you can see?
Yeah, yeah, you're sharing the screen now.
Okay. Okay, this was a totally different week than the previous one. And from there, we can take it down to 1 session. This is an example of 1 session. So what we say, okay, school boxing, 50 minutes, what do we do? So in this session, school boxing, working on straight punches and defense and counters against straight punches. School fight, 9 rounds, 345 minutes. Okay, first round, boxer A, offensive lead hand, boxer B, defensive lead hand, and they change after half the round. So here we take down the planning, every single exercise, and 4 rounds on the bag. First round, 90% straight punches on long distance. Second round at signal, 2, 3, or 4 straight punches, and last 2 rounds free. So we have gone from yearly planning all the overall view, breaking it down step by step, down to, okay, what will we do next week? And boom, in one session, what exactly are we doing in every single boxing exercise? Okay, so this is the way I plan when I have to prepare for Olympic qualification or Olympic Games, and this. Try to see the overall picture, start from the big parts and breaking it down levels, and then like the daily session. I don't plan it 5 weeks before. This is dynamic. Things happen, things changes. You have something in mind 2 days before, and now we'll do some little change here. So I have the main work already done. Okay, I know what I will work this week. Have a little bit in mind, and boom. Sometimes I write down down to every single round what we need to work. Okay, so if you have any questions, like we do always, we put it in the chat. We'll try to reply. We had in mind to do 10-minute practical, but it was not possible. There was no Wi-Fi connection in the other room. So I think on Monday we continue a little bit, because when we did the free weights, when we showed with the bar the other day, we went a little too fast and we got some questions. So we want to highlight something that can be useful for you. Here's one question. Thank you. From Simarpreet, do you modify training to prevent jet lag? If yes, how? Before and after travel? Yes. So number one, we try to travel well in time. So when we travel through the time zones, we want to be there well in time. Normally, they say for every hour difference, 1 day before. And for the main competitions, we have been fortunate with this, and we have had a good response from boxers, also because we are in Patiala. Already to go to Delhi, we have 5-6 hours. Then 2 hours at the airport, and then we have to change somewhere, long flight. So our traveling is very, very demanding. And if you also travel through the time zones, we definitely need to plan for. Let's see, next question. What is this? If three level of boxers, sub-junior, junior, youth level, are all necessary to make yearly plan differently with one coach? Yeah, okay. I didn't explain one thing. So this is the general plan, main plan. You have to make some adjustments individually. The main thing that we do is if the boxers, the conditioning level is poor. So when we test them on the Cooper test, the conditioning is poor. That one will have a longer first preparation period when they work on endurance. We extend it 2 more weeks. They can wait with the strength. We extend it 2 more weeks to give them chance to level up on the endurance. Otherwise, when we start all this high intensity training, they will not be able to handle. If somebody is already very good on the endurance level, we have some boxers, then we can do the other way around. We shorten a little bit on endurance, and maybe they need some more strength or explosive or power. Same thing with the strength. Somebody maybe need little more strength, basic strength. Somebody needs more explosive. Can be there as well. And especially when we come into the tapering period, the last weeks before the competition, we have to be very, very, very sensible with the individualities of boxers. 5 months before it's not that much of a problem, but last two weeks then becomes the most individual part, we can say. And going back to sub-junior, youth, and junior, you think long term. What Dan was talking about yesterday. You don't think specifically for in 2 weeks or in 5 weeks. You think in 5 years, in 8 years, in 10 years, this boxer has to develop long term. And of course, when you have important competitions, then you adjust the training for those competitions. But I would say 80% of the work in your mind, you have to think about long-term development. Question, Shiva Nayak. What is the minimum period or time required to prepare for participating in any competition? If you received any invitation for competition an unconditional uncertain period, like before 3 to 4 weeks, can we participate? This depends on what level what is your current level. So if I have a boxer who came from home from vacation, he has not been doing anything, he's been sick, lying on the bed for the last month, I cannot send him to competition next week. If we have another boxer who has many years of training, is very easily trained, comes to the camp at 50%, and in 10 days he's 85%. So that boxer probably you can send to competition, and he will have no problem. So there is, we cannot say any minimum period of time, but when we start the camp before going to an international competition, I don't know, I would like at least 6 weeks of good preparation before sending them out to some competitions. But sometimes we have started the camp, and in 3 weeks they go for competition. In that time, we don't take this competition as very important. We take it as part of the training. So we don't adjust the training for competition, but it's part of the preparation of the general preparation. Sushil, after the inter-school competition, the competition dates for state competition are sometimes extended or reduced by almost a month. How should we plan to train the boxers then? Yeah, good question. Even for us, things change. Things change. They change. We were going to China, Wuhan. We were going to Wuhan for the Olympic qualifier, and 10 days before, they say no, cancelled, and we had to 1 month. And we have to go to Jordan, and we had Australia, we had who else was here? Italy was here on training camp, and we had to change all our plans. So Rafael helped us, and we went to Italy for training camp, and from there we went to Jordan. So these things happen, and especially the lower you go down, it becomes more unpredictable. But that's why I say, think long term, and you make the small adjustments. We have the same. Our boxers, I plan to go for Commonwealth Games, but I lose in the trials. There is no Commonwealth Games for me. So we try to give them some other competitions and so on. But you have to be prepared for the unexpected, and you have to be prepared to change. There is no 100%. One thing is in theory, in your mind, and reality is different. But if you have a plan, at least you will not hit 100% because it's not possible, but maybe you will hit 90. Pavan Singh, functional movement screening is also the part of your test battery, or only focusing on the specific drills related to boxing? Please enlighten the test battery which is performed by you after certain interval. Yeah, so the test battery we will look at on Monday. So there I will speak about the test battery. I have done functional movement screening long time ago, but I will tell you a little bit what is my opinion on Monday. Monday we have a test battery. Oh, Raffaele Italian, what is this? Yeah, grazie. So for me, you saw priority 1, 2, 3, 4. I didn't put the national championships because we are not involved. We break the camp, and the boxers have to go to their state. Some don't participate. Some. So I did not include the national championship. But of course, for the states or for the board, the national championships is the most important. But here's a tricky situation, because they get the boxers maybe 1 month before and have to prepare them. So then you do what's called direct competition preparation. You take what you got, and okay, this is what I got. I could not make the endurance, this. So from here, boom, we go to here, and you find a way. This is what they do in like in football. In football, the national coach, he gets the players 1 month prior to the World Cup, or maybe even less, because they play in the Champions League, they play in the Serie A, Premier League. With their clubs, and boom, 1 month, you don't have the time to do this preparation. You take what you got, little bit, and then use specific preparation for the competition. Let's see, Kim, I find some question. Okay, if you have any question, you put them fast. Otherwise, one important thing is to how can I say? Don't make it the training plan be something that is only theoretical, and you put it in a drawer, and then you forget it. You just, okay, you can show for somebody that you have made a plan, but it has no bearing to what your actual work. Then we're wasting our time. And for every single new time you do the plan, you will make more realistic adjustments, and you will hit the target. The most common thing for everybody, including myself, you plan too much. We will do this, this. Then you realize that is impossible. I have to cut. The next time you learn, okay, no, it's not possible. We will do this. Yeah. Let me see. I don't see. Give me. What is the purpose for running 45 minutes? 1 hour in boxing is only 9 minutes. Yeah, good question. Because you're working on the aerobic capacity, and the aerobic capacity you need volume for the oxygen to go into the capillaries, and for that one of the best ways of training is low intensity during long duration. Then also higher duration, this short distance, but you can you can also train high intensity and bring up the aerobic capacity. The problem with that type of training is that you reach a plateau. You can improve very fast, maybe even faster than with the traditional method. But once you reach that plateau, you have done one cycle, boom, a second cycle, the third cycle, you will have to find something else. So to improve the aerobic capacity, we need time, and we need to keep it low. So this is very good for the recovery of the high intensity sessions. Yeah. What, Raval Padmanabha, what type of training plan can be prepared for beginners on grassroots level? Yeah. So yesterday's lecture was about that. So you watch yesterday's lecture, because today is some things from this you can use, but this was meant for high performance. Okay. I want to say, Ron, again, on the same subject. The running that we do in boxing is not specific to prepare for 9 minutes. The aerobic capacity, high VO2 max, is one of the major indicators, factors in reducing risk of injury and faster recovery. So for be able to train at very high load, we need a good aerobic capacity. We cannot just skip that part and do only the high intensity training. Then we come with the injuries, and we can improve in one cycle, maybe second cycle, the third cycle. No, we have to change. So for long-term development, this is definitely, in my opinion, better. Yeah, Gupta.
Hi, Mr. Ron. Mr. Ron, now Mr. Ron was asking about the duration of the bout and the training that we do for endurance, about 45 minutes. We have seen in Iowa boxing competitions, a boxer is not training only for one boxer, he is training for a whole of a competition. Once we are going for the aerobic activities, we are going in the pulse of 140, 160, the maximum lactic acid production is there. As the boxer on the first day, he gets a very tough bout. We have seen one of our, during 1982 Asian Games, he met with the Mongolian boxer who was a currently World Championship silver medalist. In that bout, he put all his efforts. And if you not have a high level of endurance for the further bouts, you become stale. Sometimes the bouts are going continuously from first day to the second day and onwards up to the final. In such situation, recovery plays a very important role. If you have indulged yourself in the such type of aerobic capacities, your boxer recovers very faster and he is ready for the next bout. Not only that, the recovery counts in boxing in between the rounds also. If you have prepared your boxers for high aerobic capacities, after the first round, when he is getting a rest for 1 minute, he recovers very good for the second round. He recovers very good for the third round. In the same way, we see it that a boxer who is having the best recovery speed or the best level of endurance from going first round to the second round to the third round, from first bout to the second bout and up to the last of the competition. The boxer who is having the best level of endurance and he will recover faster, having very less chances of injury, and will be having more chances of winning. And secondly, recovery, it gives you a confidence also. If you have a good level of endurance, you are recovering faster. Your psychological aspects, they go little high. It goes side by side with the boxer, because psychological capacities also count a lot. If you have recovered and you know that you have the capacity to go up to the last bout, your self-confidence and the level of going into the bout will be much higher. That also play very high role. So endurance plays a very important role in building of the competition, for avoiding the injuries, for recovering during the rounds, and recovering during in between the bouts. So that's my summation.
Is there any more question? Okay. Mr. Sacchetti, are you there? I don't see. Okay. Tomorrow no class. We have on Friday. Yes, Friday we have Dr. Karan. Saturday, Mr. Gupta. And Monday we will look at the test battery and the test that we do to see, to evaluate the success of the training program, the improvement of the, is there improvement? Because we say, okay, we train this physical strength, power, endurance. How do we know? How do we know that they are improving? Do we know? So that we can test. Okay, thank you very much. Stop recording.